Now I am calling the person who is having all the credit for holding this dialogue among the prominent speakers. Yes, I mean Dr. Zafar Iqbal, Head of Department, Center for Media and Communication Studies, International Islamic University, Islamabad. Please welcome Dr. Zafar Iqbal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Justice Retired Rajesh Shafkat Abbasi Sahab, Chairman Pakistan Press Council, Dr. Zafar Iqbal Qadir, Chairman National Disaster Management Authority, Wadi Professor and Rector, International Islamic University, Professor Fateh Muhammad Malik Sahab, President, International Islamic University, Professor Dr. Mumtaz Ahmed Sahab, and my other colleagues and speakers. I welcome you in the University, International Islamic University, where we have arranged this seminar for educating and giving an opportunity to interact with my students of the Department of Media and Communication Studies and other students from the Faculty of Social Sciences, especially to talk something about ethics that the media are supposed to observe while they are covering disasters. Usually whenever I'm coming on a stage like this and talking about issues related to media, I have always found myself a critic to media activities and the kind of things that they do while covering whatever they are supposed to. And I have found myself very ruthless in my criticism to media. But today probably I would be having somehow benign towards it, because disaster is something that itself is disastrous to talk about it. I mean, disaster is naturally an emergency-like situation, and once you are in an emergency-like situation, you most of the time go for a firefighting. In a situation like that where we are there, I mean the media are operating, in Pakistan especially, which is of course a developing nation, so we cannot have the things that are normally there with the developed nations. And the kind of training that are supposed to be given to the journalists so that they should be able to cover disaster in an ethical and in a way that is very civilized. But unfortunately, we live in a country where our journalists do not have enough facilities available, and the problem of coordination with the district administration, where the disasters have occurred. Usually we have found that disasters are mostly in the regions, not in the urban centers. So those who are reporting from the regions, they are also not very well trained. They are the stringers. They are partly, you can say, part-time associated with the media organizations. And usually they do not have a high level of education. So for them to report in an ethical fashion for the national media and for the mainstream media is something very difficult. And we have to, of course, keep this thing in view. When I was saying that this time I will not be going very critical for the media, what did I mean by that? It was because of the reason that we have to expect that media are supposed to be very responsible when they are covering the issues related to the disasters. We have to keep in view that in which society we are living, because media are supposed to be responsible, but the question is that who has to give the sense of responsibility to the media? None else but the subjects that the media are covering. Media are as responsible as the subjects they are covering. The responsibility of media is basically in the eye of the beholders, not in media itself. You might have seen those who are working from the developed nations and covering conflict and disasters in Pakistan. You might have seen their reports. You probably have come across many faults, otherwise they cannot dare doing things like that in their own nations. But once they are covering a situation like that in Pakistan, so you can see that many faults are there in their reports as well. It is because of the reasons that the area and the society and the kinds of circumstances they are operating, that's are basically dictating and driving their activities over there. So this is, of course, the case with Pakistan. Our media are, of course, not very mature. If I talk about media, I will be going to say that media probably is taking birth in Pakistan right now. It is at a very nascent stage. It has not reached to a mature stage where it is expected to deliver in a fashion which is normally there in the developed nations. Media in Pakistan is probably 5 or 6 years old. It's not big enough. And earlier, I mean, if you just look at it, that how many disasters have so far occurred in Pakistan, So probably we are seeing that after 1919 to 2005. After the earthquake, there was a series of natural calamities and disasters in Pakistan. And of course, this was the time when media was taking birth in Pakistan. So expecting media to work in a fashion which is parallel to the developed nations, of course, something naive, at least what I can say about that. So the question arises that what ethics that media are supposed to follow once they are covering disasters. This is, of course, a big debate. What ethics, who has to draft the ethics for the media? Who has to give lines to the media that how the disaster should be covered? Or whatever the conflict or whatever the disaster situation is there, media should supposed to cover. I think there are three main theories available on this subject. If I move it to theoretical perspective of covering disasters and the ethical grounds that the media is supposed to follow, that either media should be given this responsibility itself that media should cover, and media should frame the sense of responsibility and the set of responsibility itself, or the government should be given this responsibility to set responsibilities for the media. Then who should be given this responsibility? Who should be given this responsibility to control and to direct the media that how they are supposed to cover the disaster activities? Either the media itself, that they should negotiate with the media players, with each other, and formulate and set and draft the policies for themselves, or that responsibility should be given to the media, to the government. So this is a great debate that has been probably followed by various universities and in various parts of the world. The third approach is basically that no, not only the media and not only the government should be given this responsibility to teach media that what are the ethics that they're supposed to follow while they're covering disasters. Rather, there should be a pluralistic approach towards handling issues like that. I mean, media, civil society, judiciary, and the government, they all should get together, and with negotiations, they should be able to formulate a policy. They should be able to draft the lines for the media. They should be able then to set the ethics and the codes for the media to follow. Because once they are covering disasters, of course, this is a very difficult subject, and of course, at the same time, very sensitive as well. Today, when I was thinking about what I have to speak about, so instead that I should talk about media and the responsibility of the media in covering disasters, I thought, why should not we talk about something which is different? Because I had been having people from the media and people from the NGO sector, the people, those who are talking about the advocacy and the human rights and the rights in crisis, as Shafkat Moiz was giving you a brief about that. So I thought that I should be giving here the responses or the public perceptions about media responsibility while they're there to cover disasters. So I will be talking little about that, and I'll be showing you some data on it, because I had gone for a quick survey by asking some of questions, 10 questions, to students, to people outside, those who have been through, they have been having many exposure of the media coverage of disasters. So I had prepared a small brief. I hope you would be able to see that on screen a while. Please. So these are just 10 questions, and I have asked these questions to 60 people, and the responses of the 50, the public responses and perceptions about the media coverage of disasters there. So first question that I asked was that, do you think that the media are playing a responsible role in society? So you see, I have just put that in 3 forms, that there were only 15 people that media are playing a responsible role in the society, and there was a huge number of people, those who are denying this, that media are not playing the responsible role in society. The second thing I asked was, do you think media can develop national integration in disaster? Of course, this is a very subjective question, and we have found people that they are saying that majority of the people, 55 out of 60, they were saying that media have this capacity to integrate the society and find the opportunities out of disaster, and can integrate the society and the members of the society together over the issues of disaster. So you see, that indicates the kind of discrepancy that what media are doing and what media are capable of doing. So these two things are very different in the views of the people. People think that the media can do a lot in the disasters, but what they are doing is something very different from that. The third question was asked, do you think Pakistan media is portraying real picture in disaster? So there were only 40 out of 60 that people were thinking about the media are drawing the true picture of disaster. Do you think media are creating extra fear regarding disasters? And there was a huge number of people, those who are saying that yes, media are basically creating hype of disasters that are creating fear among the masses. Instead of pacifying the situation, instead of giving a relief to the people, rather media are basically causing a sort of fear, developing sort of fear in them. Do you think media are helping victims through importing information in the society? So again, there have been a lot many people, those who are in favor of that, 35 out of 60. Next slide, please. Do you think media create hype on disaster? And a huge number of people are saying that yes, media are creating hype in the society about disasters, even after the disaster, before the disaster, and during disaster as well. Do you think media never focus on the development journalism and covering disaster? So of course, those who are students of journalism, they can very well understand that when we talk about the development journalism, what do we mean by that? So there have been many number of people, those who are saying that yes, media can play a role in that. Do you think media are giving enough space and time to reporting disasters? Yes, huge number of people were witness to that, and they were having this perception that media are covering disasters enough. Do you think media focused more on government failure in crisis situation rather than supporting government in the relief work? I think this is something which has to be noted by the chairman and the MA, that there have been many number of people, those who are saying that the media are not supporting government, rather ruthlessly criticize the government in dispensing the responsibility that the government should play in the process of disaster. And the last was, do you think the media can be helpful in the disasters? So huge number of people were in favor of it, that media are capable of playing a role in the disasters. So this was absolutely different perspective what I was expecting that my friends, my colleagues, and other speakers will be talking about in this session. So I wanted to give just a different picture where how do people think about that, what media are capable of doing and what media have actually done in the process of disaster. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And